Hello, friends. Hello, friends. I have a question for you tonight. Are you ready for the Sunday law? Okay. This is for SDAs, not for all. A lot of my friends here in this Facebook account are SDAs. So, SDAs, are you ready for the Sunday law with your profession? All right. Now, this one is a Sunday law preparation by Pastor Mark Finley. Okay. I want you to go over that and let us see what we mean by that. Okay, so here it is. In Revelation 13:18, it says here, and the second beast required all people, small and great, rich and poor, free and slave, to receive a mark on their right hand or on their forehead. Okay, and what happens? 17, so that no one could buy or sell unless he had the mark. What is the mark? The name of the beast or the number of its name. And verse 18, here is a call for wisdom. Let no one who is inside calculate the number of the beast, for it is the number of a man, and that number is 666. You see that? The mark of the beasts. It's about Bible prophecy saying that persecution will start with the economic sanctions. No one can buy or sell unless they have the mark of the beasts. In other words, your credit card will not work, your bank account will not work, your travel, will be denied. Anything involving money or credit or money, either online or cash, will not be useful at this time. All right? And so in here, some people might ask whether the mark of the beast is a microchip. It is not a microchip. It is not a tattoo, not a barcode, not an identification card, not a credit card, not something visible. Then what is it? Well, it is the enforcement of Sunday observance as a Sabbath. Well, there's a big topic to talk about. That is not my topic to go into detail of that. Instead of the seventh day, the day ordained in the scriptures by our Creator. Well, the Seventh-day Adventists know exactly what this is all about. All right. For those who are not Seventh-day Adventists, you may not know about this. You might want detailed explanation for this one. I can give you such explanation. All right. Okay. But for now, let me address the SDAs. Whether we are really ready for such Sunday law. All right. And so let's ask Pastor Mark, should we prepare physically also for the Sunday law as much as spiritually? All right. And so let us ask him about on what he can say. He has a video on this, and I believe this will be helpful for all of us. Okay. This is what he said. All right. Wait. Let me try whether the sound is okay. Yeah. Audible. Okay, here this is what he said. Okay, here.
Pastor Mark, the question is, should we prepare physically also for the Sunday law as much as spiritually?
Should we prepare for the coming crisis that's going to come when no man can buy or sell? It's a very interesting question, and one has to understand the sequence here. So the Bible teaches that there's a little time of trouble that precedes the great time of trouble. So when church and state unite and a national Sunday law is enforced, there will be a time during that period where no man could buy or sell. During that period of time, there will be opportunity for us to grow gardens, for us the National Sunday Law is the last call to leave the major cities. We'll be living in remote areas and preparing in these remote areas for the coming of Christ. Then as everybody has an opportunity to make their final decision from the time of the National Sunday Law, the Mark of the Beast, until the close of probation, then during that time, we do make physical preparation. But after the close of probation, when everybody has made their final irrevocable decision, once that has taken place, then we will no longer have to prepare, because it's at that point that our bread and water will be sure. It's at that point that the angels will feed us. You find that in the Bible very, very carefully. Isaiah 33, verse 14, and onward, it talks about the fact that our bread and water will be sure. And so we can have confidence at that time that God's going to feed us.
Originality?
Okay, now it is very clear that we need to prepare physically. What he meant by physically, of course, bread, things, provision, but even also, of course, that is you cannot have provision if you don't use money. You don't use any of these things, all right? But how are we going to prepare? Are we going to prepare, or when? Is it on the Sunday law time? No more time for that. Now is the time to prepare. Don't you think so? That is why I'm going to share with you again, all right? This presentation, so you will have a better understanding and what to prepare, whether we are ready to prepare for the Sunday law. The question again comes, are you ready for the Sunday law with your profession? Okay, now here it is. Now last week, okay, I had a chance to meet the former Executive Secretary of Talent Outreach Mission, Pastor Lusak. And so my question here is, why did Pastor Lusak quit pastoral employment? All right, you may wonder why, okay? Well, he said, I hope I will not be misquoting him. I am paraphrasing, and he said to prepare the family for provision, both physical and spiritual, during Sunday law, when there's no buying and no selling. Okay, are we preparing for that? All right, and so I asked him more questions. Okay, now, well, he said he wanted to preach the gospel both online and offline to his people, the monk people from the outpost, even not tolerated from tithes. And the monk people a lot of them are in northern part of Thailand. So, he said that some of his colleagues, like, are not happy with what he decided. And some are really like looking down on him because he don't value or understand what he decided on. And he said, I have prepared for this many years before. And now the time has come. Especially that there was during COVID-19, at the onset of this COVID-19, he was also pressured, on vaccination. And he said the SDA church does not really force anyone to be vaccinated, but some leaders force him to do so. And so he got this need, as a kind of like all in one, I should say, a decision making affecting him to go for such country living. All right, he went for a country living. And then he said, and I think this is very important for all SDAs, especially Filipinos in Thailand. And he said, I pity the SDA Filipinos in Thailand. When the Sunday law comes that they cannot buy or sell, he asked the question, where will they go? How prepared are they? And so the question for you tonight or today, SDAs, especially Filipinos or missionaries in Thailand, are you ready for the Sunday law with your profession? Okay? Are you ready for the Sunday law with your profession? Let me have that one, the one that I wrote. Okay, that he said that he pitied the SDA Filipinos because where will they go when Sunday law comes? How prepared are they? Well, this is a big question for us, okay? That is why another person, just a few days after that, I came back here in Chonburi from Chiang Mai, a friend of mine from the division of the, Southern Asia Pacific Division, Pastor Sigundino Asoy. Pastor Asoy, if you're there, it's encouraging me to go back to pastoral employment because I told him that I am now in tent making. Pastor Sigundino Asoy right now, right? He is the current SS or Sabbath school or personal ministry director at Southern Asia Pacific Division of the Seventh-day Adventist, situated in Sri Lanka, like leading how many countries? About 10 countries. And he said to me, bye. Bye means friend. Okay, bye. I want you to go back to, employment, the pastoral employment. And he said, I want you to go back to pastoral employment, he said. And I said, why? And he said, well, we work so hard, right? But we're getting older. Now I'm becoming 52 this year. He is too. Now, where will you go when you get older? Like 65. Well, the Seventh-day Adventist Church, besides all the things that we have to prepare people, we also have retirement. And he said, I want you to prepare your family for retirement too. All right? Because if you don't prepare for that, well, something might happen. And he is right, because the number is 825. But at the age of 50, it means the Levites, must retire from the regular service and work no longer. Actually, we are already late. I am already late at the age of 52, because in the Seventh-day Adventist Church, retirement is at the age of 65. And in most countries, about 60, 65, 70. Some are like that. But in the Bible, in the biblical perspective, retirement should be at the age of 50. All right? And so now it's already late. And so he said, Father, all right? And he is very good, and I think he is right. And so I have some questions, right? And he even said, like, I want you to preach the gospel directly, led and salaried from tithes by the SDA organization, which is good. I used to be a worker of Adventist Mission, all right, from 2014. They called me to pastor churches until December 2020. For some reasons, they ended the contract, okay? But then we need to understand, all right, some of these things. I asked the question, how can my family, even your family, and others, prepare for the no buying and no selling Sunday law? All right? Again, those non-SDAs cannot understand what Sunday law means. No buying and no selling in the book of Revelation, as I already read in Revelation 13:18 or 16-18. All right? And then, last night, it's been actually not just last night, but 2 nights already, Pastor Dr. Abraham Del Rosario has been preaching this publishing ministry in the seminar, okay? And it is our time to go onward. This is given to Bangpra International SDA Church, and it's been going on right now from April 16 to 21 at 6:30 Thailand time. That is 7:30 Philippine time. I encourage you to come. And the other night, he talks about, if you are working as a literature evangelist, working for at least 15 years as credentialed LE, literature evangelist, until the age of 65, okay? 65 years old, to receive, you need this number of years to receive retirement. And I asked, how much is retirement? About some receive 10,000 baht, pesos monthly. Well, that's good for one person, maybe. Yeah. And you have healthcare also. Well, that's good if you are, an employee until that age 65. But what if until 65 years old, what will be the source of your health, healthcare? I think no more. What about your retirement? When you get sick, like a cancer, like my friend, a missionary coming from Goa to the hospital. It was good that he was revived, and so he was in coma for 14 days. But the family incurred a lot of debt, and he died eventually. And the wife really cried so hard, and I believe the wife cried 2 times. One is for the passing of her husband, and the second time the family was crying hard because incurring like death of, they had to pay the hospital. I don't like to say the hospital. You might trace the person just for the sake of privacy. They incurred about 2.5 million pesos. Too much. Is your retirement enough for that? I believe not. All right. And so my next question here is that, okay, is there enough time to prepare for the no buying and no selling under law? Well, for in my case, I need 15 years. Well, it can be, my 6 years can be credited. So maybe, yeah, but from now, 62, that's about 13 years later to prepare for that. Is there enough time to prepare for the no buying and no selling under law? I believe there's not much time. Okay. But Mrs. White said that we are not setting times like 5 years from now, 10 years from now, in 10 years or 5 years. No, Mrs. White indicated do not do such prediction. Okay, so that is my question. So my next question here is, how can my family and others, it means you, prepare for the no buying and no selling under law? Is being a literature evangelist enough to prepare for that? I don't know. Based from this perspective, maybe not. All right, but it's one of the best. Okay, so what I did is I went to the website. Of the, I should say, this publishing ministry website here, adventistpublishing.org, Literature Evangelist, and I read in here, the Seventh-day Adventist Church acknowledges literature evangelism as a self-supporting missionary. In other words, like I am now, I am a self-supporting missionary. Okay, and now so is a literature evangelist. And so when I went here, there is a video on YouTube, like the best of every profession in one. Now that caught my attention. Whether literature evangelist or evangelism is the best of every profession, or is a literature evangelist the best of every profession. I went into this video, and I want you to understand this also, whether it is. It seems to me like that is too much of a claim. I don't like to criticize, because my heart is into literature evangelism. Like, okay, so let us watch that video on what it claims, whether it really is as what it claims. Okay, the best of every opportunity in here. I hope you can watch it. This is the one.
Every profession has an upside that makes it worth it. To an athlete, it is the pleasure of achieving his goals by his own effort. To an engineer, it is building dreams. To a doctor, it is saving lives. To a pastor, it is spreading the gospel. To a literature evangelist, it is having the best of every profession in one. A literature evangelist. Literature evangelism, a calling of God to those who wish to have the best in every profession.
Wow! It has the best of every profession. Can you imagine that? I don't know if it is an overstatement for you. It just says there in every, in every, like every good thing, I should say, it says there, every profession has an upside that makes it worth it. It means there is in the side of literature evangelism, which is worth it. And if you want me to review the video, it says here, for, okay, athlete, it's goal setting. In literature evangelism, there is goal setting. Let me review again the video behind your scene. And again, to an engineer, building dreams. What is in literature evangelism that you need to build dreams? You cannot see it unless you become a literature evangelist. Building dreams through literature evangelism. Can you visualize? Because dreams have to be visualized. And the third one here is there is a picture of a doctor here. It is saving lives. How will you save lives as a literature evangelist? If you don't know, we have some books about medical. We also have some a lot of ways that can save lives. Not only, yes, we have some health books, medical books. Okay, for a pastor that keeps on preaching, a literature evangelist is also spreading the gospel even to places where a typical pastor cannot reach. It means a literature evangelist in some ways has an advantage over any profession. But I want to challenge that statement whether it is really an overstatement or not. But I want you to see, based from your perspective or from which perspective, let's go back to the question that we have again. All right? So here it is. First question: is a literature evangelist, all right, the best of every profession in one, as it is claimed by the video done by the AdventistPublishing.org, okay? And that is by the publishing department of the Seventh-day Adventist Church. But my question here is, in what sense? From what perspective? Well, they saw it from their perspective, from the perspective probably of which one? From the spiritual perspective? From other perspective that any profession cannot offer? Well, to each his own, right? Okay? Well, I wish I had literature evangelist right here to interview and, give you more detail about it, in which is not a part of our program this evening. Well, I have been a literature evangelist for 3 summers, and I can understand what this means, all right? And so here is this one that we already watched as video, okay, about claiming it as the best of every profession in one, all right? And then the next question that I will ask you tonight: is a literature evangelist the best of every profession in one from the perspective of Revelation 13:16 to 18? We already read that is about no buying and no selling Sunday law. All right? Okay. Now, if you're a missionary, an SDA missionary, my question is, which direction should you go? Okay? All right? It depends on one's value system, right? Like, well, Pastor Yusak wants freedom from employment. Okay? Freedom from employment problems. Or if you want Pastor Asoy, he wants the benefits from employment, that is retirement. And also what Pastor Abby said, also, you have benefit also from employment. I mean, not just from employment here as literary evangelist, there is retirement. Okay? What about if you understand what it means to have the value system based on Matthew 13:45 to 46. Okay, you see the meaning of the parable, the pearl of great price? It says here, verse 45, again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant seeking beautiful pearls, who, when he had found one pearl of great price, went and sold all that he had and bought it. Well, it means that he values the one pearl of great price which anybody else does not value. You know what I mean? If you see the value of literature evangelism, you would value it. If you see the value of an employed person like a pastor, then you see the value of it, which other people don't see. If you see the value of like what Pastor Yusak did, quitting employment and preaching the mountain, well, you might judge him, but he values it. He sees something we do not know, we do not value. That is why to each his own, depending on what you value. Well, look, the 3 pastors value the kingdom of heaven. I believe so. That's why they are preaching the gospel. But each one differs in their occupational value system. You know what I mean by that? Is it self-supporting or employment? All right? Well, let us see here. What did Mrs. White or Ellen G. White counsel, the SDAs? Well, she counsels here on self-supporting work. But self-supporting work is not just on individual level. It also means on an organizational level. Now, let us go further what she meant by that, so we will understand what she meant. In here, treatment rooms, food, work, and industries, that is not an individual level. Well, starting from a small scale and establishing manufacturing companies, factories, that is already in a bigger scale. All right, and then you have employment. It means when you have employment, you employ people like 70 Adventists to be employed by these factories. It means it's a big scale already. From a small scale to a big scale, it just means that the 70 Adventist Church should be self-supporting. All right, look at that. From a small scale type of business or self-employment or into factories or big type. Now I will give you the summary later on. And then the purpose is not just to make Seventh-day Adventists better known, but also to employ Seventh-day Adventists who are facing a Sabbath problem. Okay? Question here is, are we employing Seventh-day Adventists to be free from Sabbath problems? Yeah, some, but not at all. All right? Okay? Because Mrs. White's counsel is to really employ them. Okay? Well, maybe sometimes she counseled that not all is employed, but let us see. Basically, members should be employed, especially those having Sabbath problems. Okay? And then we have this restaurant to be connected with treatment rooms. Treatment rooms can be like a wellness center, can be like sanitarium, can be like hospitals. Today we have lots of hospitals around the world owned by the Seventh-day Adventist Corporation. Okay? So this line of endeavor was not to be confined to North America. That is why it's not just in North America, but even outside America. Many enterprises and overseas lands, all right, for the advancement of the message, including treatment rooms and sanitariums. That is why we have large, uh, like I should say, hospitals today owned by the Seventh-day Adventist Church, and even factories and even employment. Industrial enterprises. What are industrial enterprises? Okay, and that is for to employ Seventh-day Adventist members and others. Here, this website of the lawinsider.com says that industrial enterprise means a business other than a commercial or service enterprise, which by its nature or size requires substantial capital, and which by its nature or size has created or offers a reasonable likelihood of creating substantial employment opportunities. In other words, the Seventh-day Adventist Church is not just a church. It is registered as a corporation, because a corporation cannot just simply die. It will be perpetuated from one generation to another. And it is the best format, I believe, based on my knowledge and understanding from leaders and some experts in employment and experts in labor law. Corporations, especially like S, it can be a C corporation. There are many kinds of corporation. I think the best one is C corporation for perpetuating such a business. And now, the Seventh-day Adventist Church has the self-supporting as a church, a self-supporting. They have many self-supporting enterprises. And now, here, attention must be given to the establishment of the industries in which these families can find employment. All right? Employment, what happens? It says here, look, so that our people desiring to leave the cities can obtain modest homes without a large outlay of means. It means shortage of means or money or support. And can also find employment, all right, in both blank, blank, blank. Here is a situation. What happens? God is guiding in the work of various enterprises, okay? And so, all are to be taught not only to claim to believe as the truth, but to exemplify the truth in the daily life. In other words, the church is taught by God, not just to survive, spiritually, biblically, but even in our daily life. All right. Now, what it means by that in here, okay, the purpose of every line of such work was to be a character, is to be of a character to build and strengthen the participants and to promulgate the message. In other words, we have businesses in the Seventh-day Adventist Church Corporation, like health food business and other in schools, and there are some more. If you don't know, God has instructed here the prophetess Ellen G. White, as believed by the SDAs, that parents can find work in this industry and send their children to school. Even among schools, the SDA members the parents should be able to find employment so they can send the children to schools. Well, I don't like to question why most SDAs are not employed. Okay, it means like, I don't know. I cannot criticize. Maybe the church has been going somewhere else. I don't know. I don't like to go into that kind of thinking. But I would say that this is right here is really teaching every convert. It says here, every soul converted is to have the light in regard to the Lord's requirement for tithes and offerings. What to do? That all men enjoy to receive. Okay, here, that this to be invested in supporting the missionary work. In other words, tithes and offerings should be invested, according to Mrs. White. Wait. You might be thinking, what? What value system are you thinking? I think she is correct, okay? What she means by that here, which must be done, what is the purpose? To fulfill the commission given to the team, to them by the Son of God just before he left his disciples. That is why, in other words, Ellen G. White counsels the SDAs to establish self-supporting work in employment, self-supporting as a church, self-supporting from the world, self-supporting from what? As a church. Self-supporting in employment, self-supporting, and it means we have our own employment, we have a self-employment also, we have big businesses and investments. Well, did Mrs. White say that? He said it has to be invested, right? Now, what are some investment in Seventh-day Adventist Church? Okay, look, is the SDA Church right about following and applying the principles of Ecclesiastes 11:2 NCV? It says, invest what you have in several different businesses because you don't know what disasters might happen. And I believe the Seventh-day Adventist Church is correct in following the counsel of Ecclesiastes 11:2. What does it say here? Now you look at the website of the Seventh-day Adventist Church at AdventistBiblicalResearch.org, material / how General Conference investments are handled. They have here, okay, investments. If the General Conference of SDAs applies investing principles of Ecclesiastes 11:2 in many companies, why not you, brothers and sisters? Here are the investments. They have 26% for stocks, 33.6% for bonds, 4.6% for short-term investments, and 13.6% receivable and deposits, and also 2.1% for real estate. Okay, this is as of December 31, 1987. All right, diversified into. Recently, I believe it's in 2018, investment on weaponry was pulled out because, well, for some reasons. Okay, now that we know, then why not you as the members? Okay, the Seventh-day Adventist Church and the Seventh Conference is following the counsel of the Bible and of the counsel of Ellen G. White regarding investments. And I want to summarize that, the one told by Mrs. White. In other words, Seventh-day Adventist Church Corporation has this employment valued most likely by most pastors. I say the pastors as employed pastors. But I want you to look at the value system, okay? It depends on the value system. Remember, I asked which one should a missionary follow, like me? It depends on your value system. If your value system is an employee, you study hard to get good grades and find a high-paying job. They want safe and secure job with benefits. Well, you can be a missionary in the employment. Like, okay, you can be a missionary as employed missionary. It's up to you. An employee means working for someone's business, okay? Or if your value system is just like Pastor Lusak or like Paul, a pastor at the same time, he is not employed like Jesus here. The core values here, these are small business owners, self-employed, and solo actors. They don't want to be operated by a boss, self-employed, but they are also the boss. Like why they own a job, not just that they have a job. It means they work for a boss, they work for money and security. Well, 10% of the world's wealth are owned by these two people, employee and self-employed, all right? But what happens? There is another type. You can be a missionary in the ES, but why not in the B? The B means business owner, meaning you have employees. But to qualify as a big business owner, you need to have a system and a people working for you. How many? At least 500, people working for you. What's the value? They learn how to build businesses. Mrs. White, already encouraged to build businesses for the Seventh-day Adventist Corporation. There are people who work hard for them. They don't want to work solo. They count on their team, We be doing teamwork with the employer. And then not only that, Mrs. White also encouraged to invest the tithes and offerings for more work, for commission, for to fulfill God's mission. So basically, you have the ESBI. I means investor. Well, people who have money that work for them, because investment means money work for you. But I want you to see the left side and the right side. The limitation of the left side, ES, employee and self-employed, is they have active income. It means they keep working. They stop working, no more income. They have to be active, working like from Sunday through Friday. And then if they stop working, there's no income. Well, if it is monthly, you will be fired if you stop working. Well, on the right side, the business owner and the investor, if you're a missionary, in the right side, you have a passive income. It means money keeps working on you, for you, even if you stop working or you get sick or you're old already. And in this case, they work, this right side people, the big business owners and investors, they work for freedom. Okay, they don't work for money and security. They work for freedom. It might be hard to understand that, but this is what they do. And they own 90% of the world's wealth. Now you can check that one. You can go to Google if you want. Actually, there are more than that. About 97% of the world population work as ES, but those about 3% are in the right side. So just to summarize, is 90%, about 90, more than 90% of the world population, they are poor, according to, this is not my definition, according to Robert Kiyosaki, and only about 3 to 10% are wealthy. Okay, look, the purpose is not to be wealthy if you're a missionary. SDAs, remember, the purpose is to have freedom, that you can even work more and prepare for Sunday law. All right. Well, their left side employees and self-employed, they study hard for 20 years, work for 40 years, and only 5 years left for retirement. All right. Well, on the right side, you have 20 years also of studying, 5 years of working, about 5 years, because typically they can they can establish and they can finish retirement in 5 years, and they have 40 years of retirement. It's not about age. Well, which side of missionary would you want? The left side or the right side? The left side is only about 5 years of retirement and then you die. Or on the right side, you can enjoy like 40 years of retirement depending on your age. So Kiyosaki recommends that you jump as soon as possible. If you're an employee, from employee to self-employment, and then to big business owner, the B type, and then to investor. Now, you can do that also as a missionary. Why not? Okay, I want you to read Kiyosaki's book on cash flow quadrant. If you're tired to read or lazy to read, you can listen to it. You can listen to it on I should say there on YouTube. You can find that on YouTube too. Okay? That is the one. But then we go to the next question. All right? The next question here is number 2. Is a literature evangelist the best of every profession in one, from the perspective of Revelation 13:16 to 18? It depends on how you understand and how you value it. Because if you value time, may not be. There's not enough time. For me personally, for you to retire in at least 15 years. Okay? But if time is still long and God allows for us to have more than 15 years from now, or 15 years before the no buying, no selling Sunday law, I think it's okay. All right? But my third question is very important. Here, is a literature evangelist the best of every profession in one, from the perspective of Ecclesiastes 11:2? May not be if you truly understand, right? But if you understand what I am following, is I'm following Paul. Paul is a manufacturer of tents. Okay? Here, okay, with Priscilla and Aquila, who established a business as manufacturers of tent. All right? And Paul at Corinth also supported himself through to the business of manufacturer of tent. Paul, a pastor, at the same time an evangelist, at the same time a business owner, tent making. And I believe tent making is the best way to do this time, to do mission at this time. Paul was not an employee. You might say that he was a self-employed, but he had some people with him, okay? Together with Priscilla and Aquila, it's a teamwork, established a business as a manufacturer of tents, okay? Like later, Silas and Timothy joined Paul at Corinth, so he's not alone, not only the three of them, but even Silas and Timothy as tent makers. So they were tent makers, okay? Look, I want you to value tent making, in here, okay? While Paul was careful to set this before his converts the plain teaching of Scripture regarding the proper support of the work of God, and while he claimed for himself a minister of the gospel, the power of forbear working at secular employment, he was even questioned and misunderstood by the Corinthians. Here, there were some who objected to Paul's toiling with his hands. What happened to me? I experienced the same thing, Paul, okay, misunderstood. Well, it's not about me. Even Paul was misunderstood, all right? I want you to go over that. How? Look. Okay, let's read. There were some who objected to Paul's toiling with his hands. It's just like declaring that it was inconsistent with the work of the gospel ministry, like saying, hey, Paul, you are a minister, you are an apostle, why are you doing business? So here, why should Paul, a minister at the highest rank, disconnect mechanical work with the preaching of the word? Not just mechanical work, but actually he was doing business as mission. Wasn't the laborer worthy of his hire? Why should he spend in making tents, that is doing business as tent, like Mrs. White already said? Time that to all appearance could be put to better account. Well, Paul did his best in doing tent making. He didn't leave his missionary work. He even did his best as a tent maker. Look. Here, I want you to read this one. Paul would work at tent making and teach his fellow laborers to work with their hands, so that in any emergency they could support themselves. So some of his ministering brethren presented such a course as inconsistent, like I already said, saying that by so doing they would lose their influence as ministers of the gospel, but Paul didn't. The 10th chapter of 2 Corinthians records the difficulties Paul had to contend with and his vindication of his course. Look, Mrs. White had made a mistake in here, because it is not in the 10th chapter of 2 Corinthians, but in the 9th chapter of 1 Corinthians, okay? Yeah, I checked that. Mrs. White made a mistake here. It is not the 10th chapter of 2 Corinthians, but on the 9th chapter of 2 Corinthians, okay? Well, do not think that a prophet cannot make a mistake, even the biblical prophets, but the message is not distorted. So Mrs. White is wrong in here. Not the 10th chapter of 2 Corinthians, but the 9th chapter. I checked that already. Okay? Now, as you saw, look, I want to find out to you that in there, according to Pastor Asoy, employment can be the source of retirement. According to Dr. Abby, canvassing work is another source of retirement, I should say. Yeah, source of retirement. But Pastor Lusak doesn't care about retirement. All right? So as a missionary, which one? Should you retire? Should you have retirement? Of course, it's biblical, as I already pointed out in the beginning of this presentation. But here is an excellent source of retirement, okay? That we need to understand. What in here? The 10-20-70 financial stewardship is the best retirement based on the format that Kiyosaki just presented right here. Because these two here and the ESBI, the DI, they have the retirement because they have financial freedom and time freedom. They have passive income. But if you retire on the ES, the retirement is so meager, not enough, okay? And so going back to this question here, how is it possible that this format, this scheme can have the best retirement? Well, everything we have is not ours. It's owned by God, okay? And God wants us to make every bit of the money that gives us, it should return to Him as a return of investment. Like, for example, at least 10% of tithes and offerings should return, like eternal investment. Okay, that is for eternal investment. I'm not saying here about salvation by works. Okay, but God promised in Malachi 3, open the windows of heaven, right? And give you more blessings until not enough room to receive them. Not only that, the Bible is so clear on saving and investing in Matthew 25:27, also in Ecclesiastes 11:2. And at least for a adjustable, financial rule, it should be 20% of your income should be for savings for health care. Well, for insurances, that is income protection, should be for long-term health care, when you get old. Why not? Okay. And then for about 70% of your income, what will you do it? You need it for expenses on your needs, right? What will you do? It should also generate, investment income. Well, in here, well, as you know already, as I pointed out already here, the 70 average churches invested several stocks, bonds, short-term investment. They are not owned by the 70 average church. They are owned by non-SDAs, companies or businesses. All right. It means the 70 average church is really following Ecclesiastes 11:2, right? In several different businesses. Yeah, they are investing because they are preparing not just for disasters, but they're following what Mrs. White said. That is for spreading of the gospel, and I believe they have the right intention in doing it, and so we should members too have. And then, as we summarize this one here, okay, so we have another source of investment. We have here for the 20% of your income, that's another source of investment, and we're 70% of your income. I believe this one is the best one. Why? Already 21 years proven, and you can do this. You don't need to prepare 15 years. You don't need to invest for 15 years and wait for 15 years. Okay, you can even do this if you're fast. You can do this in about 3 to 5 years. Some even can do as fast as 6 to 8 months. Well, that is one of a kind here, and 70% of your income. Somebody did it in Mexico. Well, this one is 63 years old already in delivering financial freedom and time freedom. It means they are proven. Okay, one is a Philippine base here for your 20% of your income. If you want to know more about that, you can contact me. Okay, and we do this from the financial stewardship, from the biblical perspective, so we will not be in trouble. Because if you don't know about this, you will be in trouble. Okay, so this is the one that you can invest. Now, let me just summarize as a missionary here. Which side should missionaries be to prepare for Sunday law? Well, you can have a retirement in employment as pastor, but not everyone is a pastor. Not everyone can be employed by the 70 Adventist Church. Is your profession now? Okay, I'm asking you a question. Is your profession now preparing you for Sunday law? If you're employed now, is that preparing you for Sunday law? Physical preparation, besides spiritual preparation. And we have the second one. If you don't like employment, you can have retirement. But by the way, retirement employment is just little, not even 10,000. Okay, but if you want self-employment, well, you can. If you want the publishing ministry also, I want you to attend a meeting tonight. There's a meeting tonight. You can, but you need 15 years to be a credentialed literature evangelist, and then you can retire at least 15 years doing a credentialed evangelist, and you can retire later at the age of 65. I still have a little time. 652 now. 65 minus 52, you have 13 years, right? Plus, I had 6 years, and they said it can be credited, so I applied last night. So I can have another source of retirement as an LE, all right? Not in the employment anymore, because Thailand Adventist Mission is not, employing me anymore. That's okay. But the third one, source of retirement, is in the B. That is a big business owner. that I already presented to you, this one here, in the 70% of your income, that you can convert that into a passive income with a 63-year-old franchise like B2B and B2C model company, proven already for 63 years, delivering financial freedom. You can do this in less than 5 years if you're fast enough. All right. And so, not only that, there's a third source of retirement, which is even a lot better than the employment and self-employment. And we also have the fourth one, even a lot better. So we have the number 3 and number 4 are a lot better in the B and I. And I said this investments, okay, where money will be working for you, is in the 20% of your income. You save that with this company called IMG, and they follow biblical principle. They also, I should say, promote tithing. So they follow biblical principle. If you're a Filipino, you know, here, Sharon Conita, you have here Boya Bonda, and also we have here Corina Sanchez, right? You can do it here. Oh, somebody's crying here. Mommy, your baby here is crying. Okay, going back to the question. The first question is, a literature evangelist is the best of every profession in one. In what sense? You can answer it. In what perspective? I already laid out. Oh, yay. Somebody's crying now. Somebody's crying now. Then, take care of your sister here. The second question is, a literature evangelist the best of every profession in one from the perspective of Revelation 13:16 to 18? Spiritually, yes. Financially, may not be. Okay? That is the direct answer. But if time is given, enough time is given, like more than 15 years, I think it can be, but not the best. All right? Okay, let's go back again to the question. Is a literature evangelist the best of every profession in one from the perspective of Ecclesiastes 11:2, that is investing in several businesses? Financially, may not be. May not be. Wait. In here, number 3, you missed the question. Is a literature evangelist the best of every profession in one from the perspective of Ecclesiastes 11:2 NCV? As I said, may not be, because it only has little retirement. Okay? All right? But if you want more retirement, comfortable retirement, just in case you will be attacked with cancer or, those major financial problems, the best one is not in the literature ministry. It's on the BI side, the big business and investments, in which the General Conference, as an entity, as a corporation, has all these ones, 1, 2, 3, 4. Why not you? Today, we have lots of models today that you can do all of these ones. But it's a headache in the first, the 1 and 2. But you need to jump, from the ASB to the BI side for you to be able to retire comfortably. So you can have a better way of retirement. Retirement, when you retire, to even run more as a missionary and prepare for the Sunday law. Okay? So going back to the question here, SDAs, are you ready for the Sunday law with your profession? You be the judge. My family is preparing for the Sunday law. Time is so short. I believe, don't take my word, I believe it should be shorter than anybody thinks. I believe we can prepare for the Sunday law in 3 to 5 years and even 5 to 10 years. I'm not saying the Sunday law will come in 5 years and 10 years. But Mr. White is so clear. The events of the last days are very rapid. And if you're not ready for that, you'll be caught so unprepared and so unaware. And so may I encourage each one to really prepare for the Sunday law. Physical preparation, of course, spiritual preparation. At that time, you cannot buy and sell anymore. But right now, you can still buy and sell. Prepare. Country living, yes, prepare for the country living, for the provision, because by that time Sunday law comes, there's no more time to prepare to go into the country. Not that you will run because to shield yourself from the persecution, because I believe nobody can shield himself during persecution, only God can. But right now it's a preparation for the Sunday law. Well, brothers and sisters, if you have a question how to exactly prepare for the Sunday law, for these 4 aspects right here as you see on my screen, okay, well, you can contact me for such preparation, okay, because now is the time to really prepare for I should say the Sunday law. Okay, well, Rolly here. If you like this video and if you want more information, you can contact me or write down if you have some questions. Seems like it's a very big concept, well, a very big presentation with all those concepts. But the idea is, are you preparing for the Sunday law? Are you ready for the Sunday law with your profession? It goes back to Pastor Liusak's question. USDAs in Thailand, the foreigners in Thailand, especially Filipinos, because a lot are Filipinos here. Where will you run? And he said, I pity you, missionaries, especially Filipinos. If Sunday law comes where you cannot buy or sell, where will you go? And Pastor Yusak is so sharp on that kind of question, and I believe what he did was the right decision. Okay? All right? So, any question, you can just ask me there or personally contact me. But for tonight, may I encourage you to attend the meeting tonight. Let me show you again the slides for that meeting tonight for Literature Evangelist. Okay? All right? Okay? Uh, Here. Encourage you, if you want to become a literature evangelist, to really prepare for this, for the Sunday law. There is still time. And this one. Okay, that's it. Attend tonight's meeting. The speaker is Dr. Abraham Del Rosario. This is hosted by the Bankra International Seventh-day Adventist Church. Okay, if you want to know more about it and how you can participate as a literature evangelist, that is why and why it's called like the best of every profession in one, then you can attend. You need to attend tonight's meeting. Okay, and God bless you. uh, please write this, put this in the right perspective, that the joining of literature evangelism is not for the sake of retirement only, but really for the spreading of the gospel. And then in spreading such gospel, because we are in the body, we also need to prepare physically, according to Dr. Mark Finley, Pastor Mark Finley. We prepare ourselves physically for the coming Sunday law. And I believe literature evangelism is also one way to prepare for the Sunday law. So come to tonight's meeting here, as already said, as sponsored by the Bankra International SDA Church. We have here the link. I will give you the link. The link on my Facebook. Okay, I will give you the link for the Zoom link so you can come. Well, that's it for tonight. God bless you. God bless you. Let us prepare for the Sunday law. Let us work hard. Okay, we encourage each one to become a literature evangelist. And if you don't know much, but you are desiring for it, well, come to the meeting tonight and see and understand more messages from Dr. Abby, Abby Del Rosario. And see you there tonight, because he is now the NSPUC Publishing and SOP Director. Especially if you're a theology graduate or a missionary and you're preparing for Sunday law and you're preparing for retirement, attend the meeting tonight. May God bless you, brothers and sisters. See you tonight and see you sometime. Waiting for your comment, or just contact me for more sources of retirement or preparation for Sunday law. I already indicated 4 sources of retirement for Sunday law. Number 1, employment. if you have employment, but it's not the best because it's so little. Number 2, self-employment through literature ministry. This one, okay? I want you to come tonight. Number 3, as I said, big business, as Mrs. White indicated. And number 4, investments, okay? So whichever you want, it's okay, whatever. But for now, we are preparing for I think 3 of them. So we have 3 out of 4 sources of retirement. And it's just a matter of time. This will be, be done. Okay, any question right here? Let me see if you have any question. You can chat. You can chat. Let me see if there is any chat right here. Okay, you can just chat here. Okay, you can see my message. Chat here. I can show it to you. I can show it to you here. Chat here. Show you the overlay right there. I can see your message. If you type right there, I can see your message right here. Okay. Well, God bless you. Your star is okay. I mean, if in here, if you are intentional in helping this ministry, we don't need donation. Okay. Your participation is enough. You can support me by sending stars either here on Facebook or on YouTube. There is also, I don't know if it is, star in YouTube, but in Facebook there is. So to help the ministry, but the best way that you can help this ministry and also help others and help yourself and your family is join in one of our investments or our sources of retirement. As you know, we have now 3 sources of retirement. LE also, and the second one is IMG, 20% of your income for savings. And the third one is N21, which is 70% of your income for expenditure. It can be converted into cash flow or asset. God bless you there. Everything is to be done for God's glory, for God's work. If you put it in the right perspective, biblically, and even from the right of His way. See you. God bless.